All right, now I'm going to share my screen with you, Emma. Maybe, here it is. All right, give it a second. Do you see something that says TEDDA for testing at the top?
Yes, ma'am.
Awesome. Okay. And this is linked on Canvas. So if you don't get everything down, I'm just going to kind of talk you through it. You can go back in and add to it later. But for your EOC for English 2 at the end of the semester, you will have 4 constructed responses. What those are short answer questions. You may have 5 if they're doing field testing, but 4 of them will be scored as part of your EOC score. We just don't know which 4 it will be. So every once in a while, students end up with a 5th one if you're part of the field testing that year. But you only need to write a paragraph, so it is a short answer response. And we tell students, go ahead and answer these questions first on test day. The English 2 EOC is the longest EOC. Students generally take 3 to 4 hours. So you're allowed 4 hours. I have a lot of students that take the entire 4 hours, and that's okay. You're allowed that time, but it is a long test. The last question is always a constructed response. So if students do the test in order, they're at like 3 hours and 45 minutes and they get to the last question and I just watch their faces. They're like, oh my gosh, another constructed response. So I would even like do the whole last passage first, and then that way you know you're not going to have to deal with that when you are exhausted. But we have practiced this format for years, and it just works. It is a formula, and as English teachers, we often do not like a formula, but for testing, that's what you need, especially when you're so tired. So the first sentence in your constructed response will be the topic sentence. Basically, you're going to restate the question and turn it into a statement. So half of the sentence won't even be your own words. You don't have to think about it. You just take the words directly from the prompt. So we'll practice that today. And then your E statement is you elaborate. Hang on one second. I'm going to let somebody else in. Good morning, Jack. We are talking about TEDDA. You can jump right in with us, Jack. Emma, did that pop back up?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. This does not have a smooth transition when I need to let people in the class. So your second sentence, you'll elaborate on some portion of the topic sentence or prompt. A lot of the EOC prompts now really have 2 parts. So this second sentence makes it very easy to do. Whatever you couldn't cover in your topic sentence, you cover in the next sentence. So there's 2 sentences done. The next 2 sentences are your details, and they will support your topic sentence. So throughout the semester, I'm going to have you completing these analysis charts over and over and over again. You'll find yourself reading that way because we've done it so much. But the whole purpose of the charts is so you have these details that you can quickly go to. You'll do the same thing as you're reading for the EOC. You'll look at the questions first and figure out what do you need to read for. So I create the charts so that you understand what you need to read for. It's too much when you're trying to remember every little piece of information in a text. So you have your 2 details. They could be a direct quote, which is why sometimes I ask you to get a quote. It might be a summary of an event or scene. You will have some nonfiction pieces. It could be a statistic. And then, of course, you'll have some explanation to go along with that. And then you'll have your second detail. We tell students, even if the EOC doesn't require a second detail, if they don't tell you specifically how many details, go ahead and do 2 in case the reader thinks one of them doesn't really fit. Then you have the second one and you can still get full credit. And then your final sentence, you bring it all together. It's your analysis sentence. It will sound similar to the topic sentence. We'll just use different words. So this is called the TEDDA format. So when you hear me say TEDDA, just know you're going to be writing a paragraph. And Jack, I was just telling Emma, I have this linked on Canvas, or it should be linked. So if it's not, if one of you after we're done can email me and let me know. I know I put it in at least 2 Canvas courses. I thought I did all 3, but hopefully I did not miss you guys with it. But you'll need to put this into your composition notebook. If you have access to a printer and you want to print it out, you can print it out and just tape it into your composition notebook because we'll keep using it throughout the semester. Do you have any questions about TEDDA?
No, ma'am.
No, Jack, any questions, Jack? Is he still there? I can see he's looking at it. Okay. So then what we're going to do is pretend like, oops, that's not the one you want. Hang on. Your shared screen just went off, didn't it? Yeah. All right. Now do you see a screen that says those who don't constructed a response?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, awesome. So when you look at a prompt, it's just like a multiple choice question. You want to figure out your keywords. So here we know we need to mention the author's name. Well, maybe. What are our other keywords? I'm asking for some interaction here. Jack, Emma, what are other keywords from the prompt? What is it asking us to do?
Like, just find details? I'm not sure.
Well, I like look at the prompt and tell me what other keywords do I need to highlight?
Language?
Thank you. You got it. You're making it too hard. Okay, then what else?
Theme?
Theme. Very good. Okay, so those are the keywords. This is my task. I need to make sure that I use those. Now, on the EOC, they're not going to give you the theme, just like they don't in this prompt. So that's not Ms. Vickers being mean. That's the way the EOC will set it up. They want you to figure it out. So on your those who don't chart, what were a couple of themes that were there in the left-hand side of the chart?
Oh my God.
Did it go away?
Prejudice and segregation.
Okay.
My microphone wasn't working.
was reading this weekend, this is a little off topic for a second, but it's a tech tip, and my son wouldn't try it this weekend for me to figure out if it works or not. But supposedly on your computers, if you hit Control and then the two brackets beside the P, it will do a split screen for you. I don't know if that's true or not, but that's what I read. I haven't tried it. It does not work on our teacher ones, but that might be helpful as we are, looking at the document, and you're trying to keep along with video at the same time. Okay, so the next thing we have to figure out is what type of language Cisneros uses. So her writing creates pictures in our minds. What is the fancy word for that? Starts with an I.
Images.
Thank you. Imagery.
Oh, that.
Yep. No, you had it. You had it, Emma. So on the EOC, when they ask about language, they're not going to give you the specific type of language. You have to figure that out. And if they ask you about theme, they're not going to tell you the theme. You have to figure that out. So we will practice a lot with theme and tone and language. So again, the charts are all to help you with the constructed response. Our first sentence is our topic sentence. Now, in your topic sentence, if at all possible, you need to mention the author's name and the name of the work. So let's start our sentence with that. So what do I need to type? What's the name of the chapter?
Those who don't.
I have the last name in the prompt. Do you remember the first name? So in your formula for your constructed responses, start your paragraphs this way. In whatever the name of the text is, by whoever the author is. Now, sometimes they have some really old pieces and it'll say anonymous, so you can just put the name of the text, but they'll always give you the name of the text. So in Those Who Don't by Sandra Cisneros, now we go to I'm sitting here pointing at my screen as if you guys can see me. We have our three highlighted areas. So we have Cisneros, we've got that. We need to somehow discuss language and theme. So what do I need to type next?
We see the theme of prejudice and segregation by using imagery, or like how she's using imagery.
Okay, you have the right idea. Now, a couple of things. In the constructed responses, you will not use personal pronouns like I or we. You won't say the reader. So we'll state it in third person. In Those Who Don't by Sandra Cisneros, she uses imagery, my goodness, to develop. Do you want to say prejudice or segregation? We don't have to use both. Which one do you want to use? I don't care which one.
Prejudice.
Okay. Where specifically was she talking about prejudice? So we can elaborate a little bit. Oh, You guys got to tell me when I mess up and leave a word out. Okay. So where does Esperanza experience prejudice? When people do what?
When people come into her neighborhood and they feel like they're gonna like, I don't know, they feel very unsafe in their neighborhood.
Very good. Thank you. Esperanza realizes safe they come into neighborhood and why do they feel unsafe? Let's add just a little bit more.
Because of, well, I think she mentioned like the color of their skin.
Yes, you are right. Esperanza realizes people feel unsafe when they come into her neighborhood because of the color. So we have our topic sentence. I'm going to highlight it in yellow because I highlighted the key words up here in yellow. We have our elaboration sentence. I'm going to highlight that in blue. Next, if we're following TEDDA, what does our D stand for?
Oh, that stands for details.
Details. So we need a detail. It is okay in this very formulaic writing to put, for example, if that helps you. For some students, that's a huge help to just have a formula. As the semester progresses, you'll become accustomed to writing these and it won't sound so much like a formula. For example, okay, give me one of the details you put in your chart. It could either be an image or it could be, I think you had to list some diction at the top part.
Okay.
So what's something I can put in?
Like, I put like scared, attack, mistake. But I think I did it.
Those are tone words.
Yeah.
I want the specific words from the text. Jack, did you have something specific? Jack, you can type it in the comment section on the right. Well, no, scared is in the text. Scared and attack. So we could put those two words. For example, Esperanza Why am I putting scared in quotation marks?
Because it's from the text.
Anything you copy directly from the text has to be put in quotation marks. For example, Esperanza claims people feel scared and believe that they will attack them. Okay, now since this is our detail, I'm going to highlight that in gray. You need a little bit of an explanation with that. So with that claim, how do you think Esperanza feels about that? people coming into her neighborhood being scared and thinking they're going to attack them. Does she understand why they feel afraid?
Um, kind of.
Well, at the end, she does talk about how when they go into white neighborhoods, they feel scared.
Yeah.
But she knows the people there, and she knows nobody's going to attack anybody. So even though she understands that people feel this, she doesn't understand why. I mean, they're the people she lives with, that she goes to school with, that she goes to church with. So she doesn't understand. So then what can be a second detail?
Um,
What else did you write down in your chart that we could put in here?
I put um all brown, all around. We are safe.
Okay. Okay. And that's a really good example of imagery. You get a picture in your mind. I have my book opened up. I'm trying to find, okay, it's the first sentence. What's another word for uses?
States. Um,
What'd you say, Emma?
I said states. The author states.
Oh, we're looking for stronger verbs. That's another thing we'll practice throughout the semester. So for this one right now, I'm going to use employs imagery as I'm trouble typing this morning. I could use states here. How about that? I'm going to write that quote you just shared, Emma. Oops, I put the comma in the wrong spot. So what does that quote mean? All brown, all around, we are safe.
Like even though they're all brown, they're like safe to be around. That their color, their skin, like define them.
Well, it goes along with, she says after that, but watch us drive into a neighborhood of another color, and our knees go shakety shake, and our car windows get rolled up tight, and our eyes look straight. So she's implying she only feels safe when what?
She's around people that look like her.
Exactly. So Esperanza isn't saying whether it's right or wrong. She's just saying, this is the way it is. In my neighborhood, this is the way it is in my city. If I go into somebody else's neighborhood, I'm going to be a little bit scared too. So our second detail here is that imagery. I'm going to highlight it in gray again. So next we need our analysis statement. So we're going to tie everything back together. What do you think the overall message is in this chapter? Like if you had to write it in a sentence, what is Cisneros saying about prejudice?
Society makes it to where people only feel safe around people who look like them.
Okay. So I'm highlighting prejudice in yellow because I'm going to try to at least get 2 keywords from the topic sentence in your analysis statement. That lets the reader know that you've stayed on topic. These readers have about 45 seconds to go through your constructed responses because they're literally, scoring almost 10,000 across the state. And so they're timed. And if they don't meet their quota for scoring, then they're warned. And then if they continue not to meet their quota for scoring, then, they're let go. They're not paid anymore for that. So the readers are really looking for the keywords, and they're looking for the 2 details and just making sure that they match up with whatever you put in your thesis statement, your topic sentence, sorry. Excuse me. So as many of the keywords as you can use and making sure you have your 2 details, that is going to be extremely helpful to you. And then you come back at the end. So I will put this video up so that you can come back and look in it. Can you guys see me again now?
No, I still see the text screen.
You still see the text?
Yeah.
Interesting. How about now? Now can you see me?
Yes.
I feel like those commercials. Jack, I'm typing you a message. If you could respond. Awesome. Thank you. All right.